Previously we created the apply or register page, and now let's take a look how that was. So let me start the server. Give it a refresh, and this was the apply page. And now let's create the login page as well. So inside the pages directory I would create login.js, and the login page is quite similar to this apply page. So inside login.js I will just copy everything that we created inside the register page and paste this here. And now let's head over to login page, and you can see it is exactly the same thing. So now let's start customizing it. So whatever we don't need, we will just get rid of it, and let's make it well indented. And we have to name handle register, handle login, and we don't need category just because we need that while signing up. So we will get rid of handle category, and we will get rid of it, the span and everything. Let's see how that looks. Okay, so we don't actually need the social handle, we just need email and password, and in the email field we need email icon. So again we will go to SVG viewer and search for email, and let's look for a good icon of lower size. This one is 348 bytes and this one is 295 bytes. This one looks more beautiful than the previous one. We don't need width, so get rid of it. And the fill color should be gray, and let's copy this one. And inside public directory SVG we need to create email.svg and paste this here. First change this to email, and inside this input we are just gonna replace this with this input, and we have to make changes. The shadow will be not individual. Let me show you. This is having a individual shadow as well as a border. We don't want that, so we will get rid of this shadow and border for this. Let's see how it is. We don't actually need padding for that too, and we don't need rounded, and we just need this outline property so that when some user clicks on this they don't see the outline. And we will get rid of this secondary email, remove that, looking great. And now modify these headings. You are now among top 1% creators, or let's just remove this 1% top creators. Let's modify this tagline also. Access your dashboard. Everything is looking properly fine, but we need to find a way to navigate to the register page and then again navigate back to the login page. So we have to add a link here, but before that we have to change the apply to register. Let's change the value, sorry, not register but login. And now after the form we have to add a link. I will add h4 new here, and then add a link reference apply. Make sure you have imported link, so I haven't yet. Import link from next link, and let's give it a URL of apply page. So whenever someone clicks on this they will be landing inside the apply page. So going back, we have to move this outside of the content. So we will get it out of the div, and let's see, check it. Yes, it is outside the div. And let's style this. Add class name text center. Let's divide the page in two so it is better visible, and let's collab this part. Text is now center, and make it text white. And for the link part I will add a separate color so it's better visible, and add font bold too. And class name font bold, better. And let's say add a color of text red 400. Yeah, cool. So let's add a padding top, pt 8. Okay, too much. pt3 will be great. And the same thing, we will be backlinking from our apply page. So coming to our apply page, after this div we add this, and let's head over to the apply page. Okay, we haven't imported link for the apply page. Let's import it here too. So it is looking great, but it needs a modification. I will add this to login, and the hyperlink will be login, and the tagline for this thing will be something new. We will say already have an account, so login, and change the text to login. Let's refresh. I don't know why this isn't working. Okay, we are doing it for login.js. I don't know why we just did that mistake. Let me just swap those two. We have added both, and change it here. For register page we have a backlink to login, and for login page we have this. So both two pages can navigate to each other via this link. Before moving to backend, I want you to know that the components we are using here are uncontrolled, as we are not using any state variable for those components. There is no way to pass them to backend. Actually, there are a few ways, but that's not a good practice. So we will create variables for them. Const. Okay, this is for login. Let's first start with the register page. We will do that later. And this one we already set for category, and similarly we will use useStateHook to create them. Const handle and set handle. This one is the variable name, and this one is the function that updates the variable, and we will use useState, and this is initially blank. And similarly we will create one for email and one for password. And another good practice is to create a single one for all the info and store objects for them, but for simplicity purpose we will just create separately. Const email, set email, password, and let's modify the input fields. So for input, what is it? This is social handle. We will set a value. The dynamic value will be, what is the name? It is handle. The dynamic value is handle. So as we have initially handle is empty, so we can't actually type anything here. So when we add onChange attribute, onChange, when we type anything in this input field, you can execute a function, but we will write inline function which will have a event parameter, and we will call the set handle function that I previously said is used to update this handle variable. The set handle function will have access to the event and event.target and the value that we have here. Initially that was empty, and when we start typing anything, that value will be updated to this handle. So let's start typing this, and this will be having the value handle, and handle variable will be having this value, whatever you type in here. Similarly we will update all of them. This was email, and onChange, let's just copy the template and just do this repeatedly. onChange, and let's copy the whole thing, paste this here. This is password, and set password, and this one should be email. Make sure to make it capital. Okay, I believe all of them are now fine. Let's start typing. Okay, great. Give it a refresh so that they're gone. And now follow the similar with email. So what we will do, we will copy these two as we need in login to, and we will copy this password field and make sure that this is type password and paste it here. and let's copy the same for email, and inside the email field, this one is for email field, paste this, and let's head over to here. When we try to log in, it will show error. This should be an email, so test@gmail.com, and let's try. Category is not defined. Okay, we probably have copied the whole thing, so that's why it is happening. Let's see where it is. 14th line. Where is 14th line? Okay, we don't actually have any category, so that's not necessary at all. Let's try. You are registered successfully. This should be changed to you are logged in. Let's try again. You are logged in. And you can do also one thing. When the function is completed, then you can set the email value to blank again and set the password value to blank again too. So upon logging in, those will be blank again. But as we are just developing this application, we will have to fill the form again and again, so we won't be doing that. But on deploying, you should do that actually. We have created the front end login page as well as the register page. We don't need to save this. So now let's head over to the backend and let's start implementing the backend. So we will minimize the front end for now and full screen this. Let's go to the backend, index.js, and let's start working on the backend. Now we will have to use MongoDB, so we will require the mongoose package. Const mongoose is equal to require mongoose. A good practice is to create a .env file in the root, not in the root but in the root of the folder, and set your Mongo URI here, Mongo_URI or whatever name you want to give it, and use this inside your index.js like mongoose.connect, mongoose.connect, process.env the environment variable. But we won't be using it this way. We will just simply copy this, your DB name, copy, and then we will use this the manual way. But in deployment, you should follow that syntax. And in case you haven't set up your MongoDB, you can try out MongoDB Atlas, which gives free credits to students as well as they have free tier. But I am using MongoDB Compass in my computer. And one thing to make sure that MongoDB runs on this port, but make sure that in latest update of Node.js, they're not actually supporting this local host. Instead, you have to type the host, which is 127.0.0.1. Then name your collection. Let's name it Linktree 9. And when the connection is established, you get these functions. So upon establishment of this connection, we will have a callback. So inside the callback, we will console.log MongoDB connected. And if the connection fails, then catch enters, and catch will have a parameter named error, and this will console log the actual error.message. And in development, so that we don't run into any issue, we will set strict mode for query conditions to false. For that, type mongoose.set strict query to false. And let us now start with the functions. So we will use app.post, and on path API/register, we will have a callback which will have parameter request and response. For now, we are sending a response. We won't send this. We will have register. You can use Postman to check this path, and for that we have to obviously start the server. So let's head over to server and do npm start, and node1 has started. I will close all the rest of the tabs. Don't save, always discard, and open a new tab, and let's make it smaller. And I will do what? I will just split screen again. So MongoDB connected, it is showing that. And let's go to localhost 8080, and then on path API dash register, we'll send a post request. Why isn't it full screen? I have to make it full screen. It's not that responsive. So when we send this post request, it sends a response of register. So the path is working fine. I will just minimize this and start working on this. You can also separate out this function. This is a great concept. So I will just cut this one and create a function here called register user, const register user. And this function will be the same function we just cut out from here, and this function will now be used as a callback function. And let's now test this thing again with Postman. So when we do that, we get our response. This is just awesome, and this just produces the concept of controllers. And if you don't know much about controllers in Node.js and you're new to Node.js, then you can check out this blog post by IndGeek. I have written the blog post. This uses examples to make you understand what is controllers, and it also differentiates between routes and controllers, which are almost controversial to beginners. Okay, coming back to our project. So we will cut this function and we will create a directory inside the server named controllers, and inside that we will create auth.js. We will paste the function here, and this need to export the function module.exports register user. And in order to use that function, we have to just import the function const the function name, the register user function name, and we have to put the path, obviously require dot slash, where is the file? Controllers. Okay, so dot slash controllers slash auth. So the function is now imported and we are using this function as a callback. Now let's try again, and again the response is coming back. Let's try changing the response. Let's open this and register from callback, and let's try. This is working fine. Voila. And in the same way, we can create const login user function, which will have the same parameters, and let's send for now. And we will export the function login user. Okay, let's just close all other tabs. They are so much confusing for now. And let's create another path, app.post API slash login. And this will use a function called login user. And we will have to import that, include it here, login user. And let's try sending a request to login, API slash login. Login from callback is the response. And let's now write the actual functions, but before that we have to create models for our users. So users will be signing up, so we have to save all their information. For that we will create a models directory, and inside the models we will create a file named user.js. So we have to require the mongoose, const mongoose is equal to require mongoose. And then we need model and schema as well. Model schema from mongoose. This is the mongoose we are requiring first, and from that mongoose we are using model and schema. But make sure that you're using capital letter of this S when using the schema. We will first create a schema for our user. User is equal to new schema. So user will have a name which will be type string, and it will not be required by default as we are receiving user handle, so user handle will be required. And we need bio will be as well type string. So better we just copy this type string portion and paste this for each one. And we need email, again type string, and this one will be required. So we need this upon signing up, required, set it to true, and everyone's email should be unique, so set unique to true. When someone enters the email that the database already has, so it will return a duplicate key error. and we need avatar. This will be the user's image URL, so this will be the string type as well, and we have to set a default value for here, but we will do that later. And we need password obviously, which will be type string as well as required true upon signing up. And then we need role, which we just saw in the pricing page that we have 3 roles. We also have that on register page: creator, agency and brand. So we have to define the roles here in the database. It will be type string, but it will have 3 variations. So what will be those? It will have creator, brand, agency, and another one we have is admin type. We haven't used the admin type in the front end because that will be for backend purpose, and this will be much more secure in this way. And when users sign up, there will be assigned default role which will be creator. If they haven't chosen anything like brand or agency, they will be assigned the creator role. So we will add a default value creator. Default will be creator. And now the user handle, this will be type string again, type string. This will be required, and this should be unique. This is a must. And when users try to add their links, the links will be an array type. So we will have an array, and each array of links will be having a URL which will be type string, and each link will have a title. And later in the next course we will have icon for each link. And as we need social media of those users, so we will add a field of social media, and this will be an object. Let's first start with Facebook, then Twitter, then Instagram, then YouTube, then LinkedIn, and then GitHub. For scalability purposes, you can also add website. We have already that inside the links, so we don't need website. But if you want to accept donations, that we will be covering in the later part, if you want to do that, then you can also add a donations array. So this will be an object, and then you can accept PayPal links, Venmo links and others. So that's a different purpose. We don't actually need them, and let's just remove them. And we have to name our collection. So we will name the collection, what will be? The collection will be named user data. What is it? User data link tree. And now let's create a model from this. We will name this user model. Model from schema user data from user. Okay, it was capital. And now we will have to export this module.exports user model. And upon exporting, we have to obviously import that inside our backend. So as we are not using Mongoose directly inside here, so inside the auth we will import the user model. Const user is equal to require dot slash models slash, what is the file name? User. I don't know why the server crashed. Let's check this. Cannot find the model slash user. Okay, we are using the same path inside this, so we have it outside another directory, so we have to go outside the directory. And now let's check MongoDB connected. Now we have set up our model, and let's delete this REST send. Now we are ready to receive anything from our front end. So let's open the front end and start sending anything. Let's open to register page, and inside the handle register function, now we have to implement the backend part. We will be using fetch that comes within JavaScript. So we are not using anything like Axios. Inside this you have to pass the backend path where you will be making the call to. So we have the backend path like http localhost on port 8080 /API /register. So let me explain this a bit. The backend was on localhost. Let me divide that and let me show you. This is the backend URL, localhost 8080, and this is the backend code. And inside the backend, we are heading over to API/register path. This is the API/register path. Upon calling this, we are executing this function if we have a post request. So defining post request, we have to add this method as post. Make sure post is on capital letters, and we have to set a headers type, which is content dash type to application JSON. Make sure this is slash instead of a dash like content type, and we will add body. But before that, make sure as you are using a content type JSON, you have set up the Express JSON middleware. So for that, we will make some space and app.use express.json. This is a middleware for interacting with JSON. As we are making call from another port, we also need cross origin resource sharing. So for that, we will require course require course, and we have to use course as a middleware for each and every request. You can also specifically define the path for the course request, like localhost and specific domain names, but for now we are accepting each and every call from any domains. So now coming back to the apply.js, now set the body type. Now stringify everything we will be sending, json.stringify, and let's find what we'll be sending to backend. We will send handle, email, password and category. So let's type them: handle, email, password and category. These are the 4 things that will be sent to this path. And let's open up the backend. Let's open the register. Those 4 things, these will be received in the backend. We will destructure them: handle, email, password and category. And we will destructure them from what? Request dot body, as we are sending them via body. Here you can see we are sending them via body, and that was a request. So request body, and we are destructuring them to each and every variable. And let's now, for debugging purpose, console log them. Request dot body. When we receive a call, we will just console log them and see if they are being received properly or not. And let's try sending something. Open the apply page, and let's open the network tab also. I will bring that here to see what requests are going to backend. So I will handle test @gmail.com, and let's name it test1 and set a password test, type creator and send apply. You are registered successfully, but not actually I'm registered. That was supposed to be sent without any type of checking. So let me just check this. This is a options pre-flight request, and this is the actual post request, which is, I believe, not actually sent properly. So this is the type of, we are not getting back any response, right? We are receiving everything inside the backend, so we have to send a response, obviously. Now send a response res.json. The response will be message, success and status 200. Let's check this. And in the front end, we will remove this one and add a condition here: only if our fetch request is properly done, then do something. Then whatever response we get, convert them to JSON, and then whatever data we receive after the previous function, then do this: if data dot message, what was the message again? If data dot message is equal to success, if data dot message is success, then only this notification will be sent. or if that doesn't work as expected, then we will receive this toast. We will paste the same toast here, but instead of the success message, we will receive the error message, error.message. Let's see. Let's give it a try. Username will be test2 and this will be test2. Let's see. You are registered successfully. Let's see the backend console, and test2 is received. test2@gmail.com is received. Now let's work on the register function. Upon receiving all these details, let's now create a user. Const user await. To use the await, we have to make the function asynchronous. Async await user.create. We will pass handle and email, and the password is named, let's see the model. Password is as password. Where is it? Password is password, but one thing is different here. We don't have any category field in our user model. Instead we have role, so we will pass that category as role category. And for users to have at least a single link, we will create a default link. Const default link. This one is optional, but this can sometimes crash your application, so it's safe to add a default link. So whenever there will be no link, your application might crash. So we will add a URL, typefinance.com. title will be type finance. You can add anything whatsoever, that does not matter. And icon will be blank, obviously. Let's check again. We had 3 fields: URL, title, icon. We have added 3 fields. You can also just simply add blank here, that does not matter as long as you are adding something, but I will add that. And we have to pass that default link also. In the links field, we are adding array element default link, and we are good to go. But when we are creating any users, we have to also make it secure. So for that we will use JSON Web Token. For now, just stop the server. We have to install 2 packages: npm install JSON Web Token, which will be used for signing JWT, and another one is JWT decode. We will install both of the packages. They are now installed, so let's start working with them. I will just make the front end smaller, and let's import the JWT in the auth. Const JWT require JSON Web Token, and whatever we receive from the user, we have to verify first and then sign it and send it to the user. So for that we will create a token, const token, and we will use a property of jwt.sign. And what we will sign? We will sign the email. You can also grab the user ID from MongoDB and merge it with this and send the token to frontend. And in order to sign this, you need a secret key. You can just do secret or whatever your passcode, but I will make it properly scalable. So for that we will use .env, and inside the env we will use our secret key. secret_jwt will be test key, and we will now use this secret key. But for that, in index.js we have to require the .env. It will be like require.env, and run the config function of it, and then you will be able to use the process.env anywhere inside this index.js, as the function is being imported and run on the index.js finally, so we don't have to again import the .env here. So we can just do process.env and paste the name here. And when we are sending response, so add the token here. This will be named as token, and the token will be passed, and along with that we will pass the user ID too. So we will pass user, which was this user, so we will pass this ID. In MongoDB the ID object ID is stored as _ID, and we have a status. The status I will add success, and message will be user created, SUCCESS, and we will have to return this. and let's just add a try catch block so we don't run into problems. We'll cut this everything and let's add a try catch block. And inside try we will add our main code, and when any error happens this will be caught by the catch and the error message will be returned. We will copy the same syntax here we used here, and inside res.json we will add error happened. Okay, so the message will be custom. So we will do error.message. The actual error message will be sent as message and the status will be error, and we won't be passing any token as well as not any ID. And now let's create an user and see it reflecting in our database. We will come to our front-end dashboard and clear up the network tab. Let's make an actual user, name it actual, and the email ID will be actual@gmail.com, password will be actual. And let me open up the MongoDB compass. I will connect and open up my Linktree 9 that I had. Open this up, start applying. The request is pending, failed to fetch. Let's see what happened. Okay, we stopped our server while installing the JSON Web Token. We have to again start the server. Run npm start command. The server has crashed. Let's see what is the reason. Cannot find .env. We probably haven't installed .env, so let's install this .env. And let's start it again and let's see if MongoDB is connected. MongoDB is connected. Before returning, we will have to console log the user to debug this. Console.log user. So if user is created, then it will console log this, and before that we will add a message user. Yeah, that's great. Now let's send a request. The fetch request is post. Okay, fine. Preview, we get a preview. So this is the token that is being sent to us, and this is the ID. That means that we have it. We have created the user. Let's give it a refresh, and yes, we have created the user. The password is actual, the handle was actual that we just did. So let's try to send another request, and this time this is option request and this is post request. As you can see, the message is having duplicate key error collection, and we don't have actual user. We have the same user we had previous time. So this is working just as we expected. And let us just send the duplicate key error to frontend so user can understand that someone else is using this handle, so that they won't scratch their mind off. So let the users know that someone else is using that. In the catch we will modify this and send a toast.error, try a different username. I believe setting only this won't work. We have to tweak the backend. Where is the backend code? And let's check what was the error key. The error key was 11000, and let's work with it. When the catch is happening, if error.code is this, then we are going to send the response as return response.json, and let's copy this and send a customized message. Try different handle or email. This is the error, and when the duplicate key error occurs, that's basically for duplicate email or duplicate handle, as we are using unique true for both of them. So we are just warning users that try different handle or email, because the one you are just trying has already been used by someone else. When if is not activated, this will just simply send the error message. So this is a great way to let the user know of what error they are actually receiving. Now when the backend is completed, now let's head over to the register page and do something like local storage saving, local storage. And if data.message is equal to success, we will just extend this function, and we want to set an item to local storage, and the item name will be Linktree token, make it unique, and we want to set the token to local storage with this name. we are receiving, make sure we are receiving the token. We are receiving the token that we just created via jwd.sign to our frontend, and this data that we are parsing, we are saving data.token. So the token that we received, let's see in the first call, this is the token we received to our frontend, and this will be set to our local storage. And why we are actually saving this, it will help us with the authentication. And let's do something new. Let's make the user interface more user friendly. So we will also check when the form is actually submitted. For that, we will create a state variable, submitted, and set submitted. Use state. Initially, it will be false. And when actually the registration is successful, we will set it the set submitted to true. Instead of rendering a new item upon signing up, when any user signs up and the registration is successful, then we can just forward them to login page. We have to import the router. Import use router from next router, and we have to initialize it. Const router is equal to use router, and on successful registration we can just remove that, but I will keep that for now because I have some other plans on that. So upon successful registration, we will just simply push. We can do router.push the URL we want users to navigate to. We will do login, and let's try this out. Let's refresh this. demo2 @gmail. Oh, why this is capital? gmail.com, and set this as password, agency type. Yeah, you can now see on creation of account we have moved to the login page, but we don't actually need login page because we already have saved our token. Let's check the token. This is the token that is already saved to localhost, and now we can do anything. We are already logged in. Let's first close this DevTools. Let's say we create a page which will actually check if you are logged in or not, and if you are not logged in, it will transfer you to login page. So it will actually validate your authenticity. So let's try implementing it. Okay, I accidentally removed the content that I had here while talking. So let's see the dashboard page right now, which does not use any authentication at all. This is the dashboard page. Let's center it so it's more visible. And I will add this section.main, and it will be here, and it will have a flex column. No, I don't need that. I need justify center. So it is at the center. So now let's import use effect hook, and upon loading, the use effect hook will run once. We will do use effect and the callback function with a dependency array, and we will keep the dependency array empty so that it will run only once. And if the local storage get item, what was the item name? It was linktree token. If the item is not there, then we will return, and we will move to window.location to link to page login, and let's try this. So when we refresh, as we already have this item, so this won't send us to login page. As soon as we delete this item, remove item, so the item is now gone. Let's check it by doing get item. We don't have this token, so let's give a refresh, and you can see it is now sending us to the login page. Now try logging in. We haven't actually implemented the functionality for login, so now try registering again for an account, but immediately after this we will add login function for our backend. So now let's create an account 39. We have CCC gmail.com created, and we have this is being console logged. And let's now try getting the item. We have it, and let's move to dashboard, and we will now be allowed to access the dashboard. Yes, and now as I said, let's implement the login. And now we will do backend implementation here, backend here, and coming to our login user, we will receive the same from request body, but we won't receive the handle as well as not the category. We will only receive the email and password from the front end. Let's open up the login page. Coming to the login page, we are receiving email and password, and everything else will be just like the register. We will add a try catch block, and inside try we will find a user. Const user is equal to user.find1. This is a method that Mongoose provides, and we will find them via email, the email they provide in the form, and the password and email both should match. We will query via email and password, and we will console log the user. And if there is no user, that means we haven't found any user with that same email or password. So we will return from here, return response.json. Status is error. The error is invalid credentials. So one very important thing here, you should not say that the email is wrong or the password is wrong. You should always say that invalid credentials. When we just expose that what specific thing is wrong in your credentials, then hackers can actually modify their query and their task will be very much easy to crack your database. So we should always say invalid credentials, then the hackers will be confused that which one is actually wrong, the email or the password. So that is it. And now let's generate a token. Just like a JWT sign, we will use the same syntax. We will sign the email with this secret key that we have in our env environment file, and we will send it as a response, return res.json, and copy this same thing. User created, we have to change the message user found, and status is success, token is this, and ID is user ID that we have in our MongoDB object ID, this one. So when any error happens, then we will return something else. Maybe return the same thing we returned for creation of accounts. And now coming to the front end, we have to implement it now. We will again use fetch, and now the path is http localhost 8080 port, and it is API/login. Let me make sure that the path, where is it? index.js. Yes, the path is API/login. Yep. And the method is post. Let me again make sure that the method was post, or else I'll be confused to have an error. So method is post, and we have to set headers, content type application /JSON, and then the body JSON stringify, and we will be sending email and password, email comma password. And let me make sure that we have them. Okay, we are sending email and password as body. Our header is content type application JSON, and we are using JSON parser, and fetch URL is http localhost 8080 API/login. Okay, all set. And then we use .then. The response will be passed, and then whatever response we receive as data, we will process it. If data.status, what was the status? Let me check. If it is successful, then status is success. if data.status is equal to success, then do this. If data.error, okay, no, we don't have any error passing here. If our status is error, and this is both are our status errors, so I will name this something else. I will name this not found. If our data.status is equal to not found, then we will send a toast.error user not found. And if any error occurs, then we will do catch error console.log error. And when we have found the user successfully, we want to set local storage item also. Local storage set item and linktree token, and the value will be data.token. Make sure we are passing the token. This is return, we are passing the token. Yes, let's try logging in. I actually forgot all the username and ID. Let's try this one. The password is actual. Okay, let's log out first. Local storage remove item, and we are now logged out. And let's try logging in. The password is actual and login. Okay, there is some error, post is not defined. Okay, we forgot something. We actually forgot to add the commas. Let's try again. You are now logged in, and let's clear this up and check if we have the token. Yes, we have the token, and now we can access the dashboard. Yes, we can access the dashboard. So the login function is now also implemented. We can also add a step here, just as we did with the apply. Upon signing up, we were redirected to our login page. So upon logging in, we will be redirecting the user to the dashboard. So we will import use router from next router, and we will implement it here. Const router is equal to use router, and when everything is successful, then router dot push dashboard. Let's try this again also. So we will, for logout, we will use this remove item. We are now logged out. When we refresh this, it will redirect us to login page, and then again login actual, then try to log in, and you can see it has moved us to dashboard. And I actually have to get rid of this. This keeps popping up every single time. So this is it. We have implemented the login page from Frontend. So in this tutorial, we have implemented the login page, the register functionality, the login functionality, and in the upcoming tutorials, we will be implementing the dashboard page, the link tree, and the social, the profile editing, everything. So stay tuned.